people think a lot of the times the only way to get into video games is if you're a programmer or a coder or a tester or a tech guy. I am not. I'm definitely not. And I've been in the industry for 15 years. I lead the team responsible for the production of events like E3 or Gamescom, or in the last years with the crisis, we had Ubisoft Forward.
People, is Johanna, aka Jojo. I'm super excited today because we are here with Leon Winkler. Leon is the director of international events at Ubisoft. He's also the co-founder of Black Game Pros Mixer. Leon, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Johanna. I much appreciate your invite to have a conversation with you.
Thank you very much for your time. So, Leon, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Of course. Well, as you said, I am Leon. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for watching. I'm 40 years old, and I have been working for Ubisoft for the last 15 years, where I've worked my way up from marketing to PR to events. And now for the last 4 years, I guess, I've been director of international events for Ubisoft, meaning that I lead the team responsible for the production of events like E3 or Gamescom, or in the last years with the crisis, we had Ubisoft Forward. And other than that, I like hip hop, I like music, and I have a big passion for seeing more diversity in the industry that we have, because I mean, I've been in the industry for a long time, and it has been better. It has become more diverse. However, it's still, there is not enough of us in the industry. I think we could have more of us in the industry.
Sure. Thank you. So talking about that, how did you get into the gaming industry?
You want the short version or the long version? Because there's like it's my life kind of like is like a interesting like follow-up of different events that kind of led towards where I am, because I started working in like bars and discotheques and clubs when I was like 16, 17 years old, started doing parties, started doing hip hop parties, which back in the late 90s here in Holland was still very uncommon because, well, there was this misconception of what hip hop was that I think people will understand what I say. But at the same time, there was a big audience. So I did these parties, they became successful. That brought me to the idea of creating a TV show, because there also was no TV show for the hip hop community in Holland. Created a TV show, did that for 2-3 years, bankrupted my company. Through that TV show, managed to get an idea of that the fact that there is a gaming industry in Holland. I was a gamer before that, and I played video games, but I was never planning to go into video games. But through my TV show, I got into touch with the Dutch gaming industry because we shot a video item at EA about this game, Def Jam Fight for New York. So I was like, oh shit, there is this entire industry that is not just US based, but it's also in Europe and it's also in local territories. So that kind of like planted the seed, even though I was still fully engaged with my TV show. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a celebrity. I'm going to do this. And that's my goal. And that's my thing. That didn't work out. But after that, I managed to graduate from college because, well, I was investing so much time in my TV show that I didn't have time for that. Graduated from college, looking for a job. I initially found a job as account manager for this magazine where I had to sell pages to, well, actually the Dutch gaming industry. So through that, I was like, oh shit, there's more than just EA. Because I started talking to Ubisoft and Nintendo and all these other companies that never wanted to buy a page because I was a terrible account manager. It's like, that's not my shit. But at the same time, the seed started to grow. Like, okay, this is actually a big thing. And these companies, they spend money on buying advertisements in magazines and what have you. Anyway, I lost that job as well because I was too much focused on creation other than account management. Like I said, account management was not my thing. Lost that job. And then I think it was like a few months or maybe half a year, I don't know, later, I saw an opening for product management at Ubisoft Holland, where I applied, even though they were asking for someone that had much more experience than I had. They were asking for someone with a marketing degree and like a network and video games and knowledge of the industry, which I had zero. I mean, I played games, of course. Like, yeah, I know what games are. And I had my experience from back in the days, but I mean, quote unquote, video game experience, I had zero of. So went to the interview, was a very weird interview with my manager, Marcel, and went home, didn't feel very good about it. Actually received an email from him saying that, no, you're not the right person for the job. We don't think you have the qualities. We think you're more sales. Since I didn't have anything to lose.
But you said that you were not an account manager before.
Exactly. So I was like, well, I disagree with you because these and these reasons. So I sent like probably like a 4-page email, which I do not recommend anyone to do because that takes a lot of like time for people to actually read that. I was lucky that my manager was reading it and read it and was like, okay, come back. So I came back, had another interview, got the job and started my career in Ubisoft there. And I think the cool thing and what I finally, because this month actually, July is the 15th year that I've worked for Ubisoft.
Wow.
And what I've come to understand, because in the beginning when I started working in the gaming industry, I had no idea. I mean, how old was I? 26 years old. And yes, I had my own company and I've had my own company and I did the parties and I was like, knowledgeable on that level, but I had zero knowledge of the video game industry other than that's a cool game. So I felt very basically insecure in the beginning, like because I didn't really know what my place was in the industry. I was like, okay, what do I bring to the table? Mm-hmm. Because all these people around me are so much more knowledgeable about this stuff than I would ever be. Mm-hmm. And of course I got more knowledgeable about the gaming industry 15 years in, thank God. But it took me a while to really find my lane of what my thing was. And I think the first time that happened was when I did this, or because I was product management, I did product management for Ubisoft, meaning that I did the marketing for the specific titles in the specific territory, Holland in this case. Mm-hmm. So I had to do a launch for a game called Red Steel. Game for the Nintendo Wii. It was the first year that the Nintendo Wii launched, and one of the launch games was Red Steel, a samurai game where your Wiimote was like your samurai sword. Very cool concept. Game didn't end up that well in the end, but I thought it was super cool. Mm-hmm. Anyway, for me, in my mind, because the game had such a cool vibe and atmosphere, of like, oh, maybe we can do a launch party. So we did a launch party in this like swanky chic club in Amsterdam, and it turned out really well. And I started to understand then what I could bring to the table, because until then that hadn't been done like that. Mm-hmm. People started doing launch events in Holland, and they were basically product presentations, which of course that's cool. But I brought the additional gravy, and like I brought in my hip hop people and like brought in DJs and music and performances to make it more into an entertainment thing, to give it more body, because I was like, okay, sure, you can just tell people like, hey, this game is great. Or you can create an experience around that makes people have a great time, that when they play that game or try that product, whatever that is, that they're going to be in a happy mindset anyway. And so they're like, yeah, this is great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry for all the swearing, by the way. I will try to tone it down. It's still early in the morning. Sorry, people. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's great. I was very drawn into your story. So that's how you got into the gaming industry. That's really bold, I would say, and really that show that there is you have to take the opportunity when it comes. And
yes, indeed, create the opportunity, but also don't, because I think a lot of people, and probably any sane person, would have probably, after receiving an email like that telling you like, hey, you're not the right guy for the job or right girl for the job, whatever, that a lot of people would have probably been like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure.
And maybe it was my weird, maybe it was, I was just stupid or something. Or maybe it was a weird kind of arrogance that I then still had, because I was like, yeah, but I did a TV show. Sorry. I did a TV show. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like I don't know what it was, but something made me respond to that email, but not in an arrogant way, saying like,
I understand.
You don't you know who I am? But more really like factually going through his feedback and saying like, he said like, okay, you're more sales than marketing because the job was a marketing job. And I was like, well, actually I sucked at my last job doing sales, but what I did at the same time, I created like this entire marketing campaign for the magazine that I had to sell because there was none. For my TV show, I created it from scratch. Basically, that's marketing. You create something and you create brand awareness. And I didn't even know what that was called, brand awareness. I was just trying to explain in a lot of words, which you can probably say in like one sentence. But it came across, and I think, and I actually had lunch with him, Marcel, like the guy who hired me 15 years ago, a few weeks ago, and I'm still super grateful for the fact that he saw that. Because he could have also been like, who is this man? Like, what the hell? No, I want to go for the standard. And I definitely was not the standard.
So you knew yourself, you knew your strength, and you were able to articulate and actually... I'm sure the way you say it is like...
I say it like that now. Honestly, but seriously, I don't really, for you, Joe, but also for people watching, I don't want to come across arrogant because I'm not. I don't think I am like the greatest.
No, I know.
But and even at that time when I was applying for the job, I honestly thought I had no chance. I was like, they're never going to hire me, even though I had my TV show and I had my things and my this and that. I was like, why would they hire me? But I was like, okay, I can apply anyway. What do I have to lose? Then I was invited for the interview, and I was like all nervous and like, oh God. I was like, I think it was like they're like half an hour before the interview time, which don't do that. Wait, don't come too early. That's not a recommendation.
Exactly.
But anyway, I was there like half an hour, maybe even longer prior to that. And I did not have, even when he was explaining to me what I had to do, I was like, I wasn't confident about the fact that I had the expertise, the education, the knowledge ingrained in me to do, on paper, to do that job. However, the experience that I had, I was like, yeah, but I kind of did the same thing. It was for a completely different thing, a TV show. I created this brand, sort of. So it was this weird kind of like twist between, I don't think I can do it. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I actually think I can. And I am happy that they saw that. So I wasn't like, yeah, but of course you should hire me. No, not at all. I was more like, factually speaking, the feedback that you're giving me is incorrect. And I just wanted to let him know, even though I didn't think he was going to invite me back, I was more like, no, just to set the record straight. This is just not, I'm not a sales guy at all. I don't like doing sales. I wouldn't say hate is a big word, but I don't like doing sales because that's not my vibe.
So talking about your success and your challenges, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think my biggest challenge has always been myself and how I see myself and confidence that I had in myself. Like I said, when I just started at UB, and even before that, prior to that stuff, even when I did my TV show before that, I always had the feeling or have the feeling that I'm not enough. Always the feeling like, oh, I'm this close to being fired, or I'm this close to losing what I have. Because whatever reason, the universe or me being an idiot or whatever. And I think my biggest challenge has been to realize my self-worth and realize what I bring to that table and realize that, okay, I might not be a technology guy that knows everything about everything and knows to the level of like some of our tech people at Ubisoft or the designers of the games, these geniuses. I have no clue what they do. And they can explain it to me and I will probably still be like, sure. But what I do bring to the table is that I think that I can look at this game or project or whatever and put it in the perspective of how to broadcast this or how to translate this experience to a broader audience. And for me to realize that kind of thing, what I brought to the table, that took a long time. And even now I'm still like, yes, I have experience. And yes, I have like a body of work of stuff that I can prove and show myself even like, look, you're not a complete idiot. But at the same time, it's also like still that maybe probably that hunger of like, I always want to do a little bit better because I'm like, yeah, but this was not perfect. And I know it will never be perfect, but it's like trying to like always do a little bit better to kind of like chase yourself because maybe it's already good, but I just like, I don't know, maybe that's kind of like linked to my insecurity, if you want to call it that. Like I'm just doing my stuff and so far it has been going well, but you never know. It could be over tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing and for being so vulnerable. Like a lot of people don't really share about the fact that their challenges are themselves, and although it is a topic that come back quite often, like imposter syndrome, these type of things come back quite often. But yeah, that's really great. So we're talking about diversity in the games industry, and how do you think that diversity can be better, and we can have a more spectrum of diverse experiences in the gaming industry? Tell me about that.
I mean, I can only speak for my own experiences, of course. And I remember when I just started working in the gaming industry, and I wasn't really thinking about that at all because I was already happy that I had a job. I was like, oh my God, I have a job. I am making a career. Oh my God, I'm traveling. Shit, nice. All about me. Like, yes. But then at a certain point in time, I remember I had to do this. Was my first big kind of like game convention that I did, a Dutch game convention called First Look. And I remember it was basically just me having to like with an agency construct everything and like connect all the dots and do the tech and put the network down and all that kind of stuff, which I was not great at, but I kind of like had to teach myself. Anywho, I was there late at night constructing everything, and I remember walking out, and there was a Nintendo booth where this other black dude was working, and I was like, hey, because he was the only kind of like Nintendo branded other black dude that was working at this convention. Started talking to him, and he was from America. He was like, yeah, I fly all over the world to do all the Nintendo events and like connect I'm their head of tech or technical director kind of stuff. And after talking to him, I was like, wow, actually that's the first fellow black dude that I met ever since I've been working for Ubisoft. Wow. And that kind of like started some things. And I like that was like 13, 14 years ago. So it's been a while. Then when I moved from my local territory doing PR events, whatever, to international and doing E3, I started thinking about the potential of the international platform that I had. Like, okay, now I have this international stage where we have to program games, sell games, show what we have, but we have an opportunity here to at least show, maybe not the I don't know how do you say that, show the potential diversity of all these people that work on these games. Focusing not just on, of course, on black people, but on women, on people of different cultures, but just showing, hey, these games are not just made by white men, even though, sure, maybe percentage-wise, maybe, but it's not about that. You have a platform where you can show the ideals, where you can show what it should be, in my opinion, where you can show like, okay, we can show all the colors of the rainbow of people that work on these games, because that's actually the case. Then at a certain point in time, I went, because my team produces GDC, I went to Microsoft's Black in Gaming event at GDC and started talking to Sierra there, who works for Microsoft and does the things there, and just started looking at how they approach the Black gaming community with their events. And I thought it was very cool. And then we did another E3. I saw the 28 Days of Black Cosplay, the February prior to that E3. I think it was E3 2018 or 2019. And I was like, oh, cool. Maybe we should do something highlighting Black cosplayers within the gaming community That would be cool. However, in my opinion, it was a little bit too niche. So we brought it up a little bit, and that turned into the Black Game Pros Mixer, where basically it was a platform, our E3 platform that we leveraged in order to celebrate, promote, stimulate more Black people to work in video games and put a spotlight on the people that are already working there. Hopefully inspire and show, like, hey, it is possible.
Wow. Thank you. And how is it going at the moment?
Oh man, it's funny because at a certain point in time, things turn bigger than you. And for me, it was never meant for my glory. Like, oh, it's Leon's Black Game Pros Mixer. No, who cares? I started something together with a few other folks, and now it kind of like turned into a thing by itself, and it has a project manager on it, and I work on it still, but it's no longer mine. It's like I let the other folks take care of it. The also cool thing that started from that is that when we started doing the Black Game Pros Mixer, we realized internally, not just internally at Ubisoft, but also within the gaming industry, there was no real network of the Black folk working in the industry.
Yeah.
So we started building that. And we have the Discord server where we have, I think, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of either young folks that want to get in the industry or already veterans that have been in the industry for a long time, all of color sharing, information sharing, job opportunities, sharing knowledge, mentorships, workshops, and so on and so forth. So it's going quite well. And there's some other thing going on that I am working on, but I cannot really share about it yet because it's not.
Stay tuned.
I also don't want to jinx it, but if this will happen, it would be super cool and another huge platform.
That's great. So I can't wait to hear about it, Leon.
I can tell you offline.
Okay, cool. So you say, talking about the Black programmer, do you have any word of advice for people that want to get into the gaming industry?
Yeah, please do come into the gaming industry.
We both like Leon.
It's nice. It's not. No, but honestly, what I've noticed, and that's also a reason, and maybe it's just Ubisoft. I haven't worked for anyone else, so I can just speak for Ubisoft. It feels like an extended family. I've always felt welcome at Ubisoft. Is it the perfect company? No one is perfect, but I've always felt like it's a part of my extended family. They've given me many opportunities that I've taken, and they also understand that it's important, diversity. We make games not in a silo. We don't make games for ourselves. We make games for the millions or billions of people that play them.
Sure.
And if you just think, oh, we're making it for just one slice of the people out there, then you're mistaken. And then I think you're also missing an opportunity.
Yeah, that's true. So just come as you are.
Yeah, just come as you are. Don't be shy. And I think also, and then that's the cool thing now, because you can probably Google and see, okay, Black people working in the industry, and you can probably find a few. Connect with them. They will probably be more than happy to share their information or share some thoughts or give you some advice on where to go. Don't be shy. And I think also realize that was also my thing at the beginning. That's also what I tell a lot of people. Like, people think a lot of the times the only way to get into video games is if you're a programmer or a coder or a tester or a tech guy. I am not. I'm definitely not. And I've been in the industry for 15 years. You can almost literally be whatever you want to be and choose whatever career you want within video games.
Sure.
The example that I always give is like, even psychology students can work in video games, or law students, or engineers, or everything, because it's all needed. Video games are trying to represent either real worlds or fictional worlds, and in order to do that, you need the expertise of the people that populate these real and or fictional worlds.
Yeah. Thank you. So last question, as a international event director, how the global crisis has affected your role.
I mean, it changed my role for sure, because before that, I mean, I've been talking about E3 a lot. I mean, that was our main thing. That was our moment in the year where we went as an industry to Los Angeles to show what we had. We missed that. And we missed that last year and also this year. However, there are two ways of looking at it. You can look at it and be like, oh, it's sad. And we did that. We had, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very sad that we cannot do live events. Just the live events. The rest of the situation is super sad. But I look at it as an opportunity. Okay, so we cannot do this, but what can we do? And you kind of already saw in the last few years, and I think Nintendo is a good example of what they did or what they're doing with Nintendo Direct, that focusing more on a digital production was going to be the trend. We started doing Ubisoft Forward last year in July. That was the first one that we did, which ended up being looking at Reach, our most successful show that we ever did. It reached so many more people than an E3 ever could. We managed to create a partnership with this company called Parsec that allowed us to do remote hands-on, because that was an issue. Normally, people, media influencers and so on and so forth, get to play our games at these events. We didn't have that right now. So we were looking at other solutions so that people at home, remotely, safely, could still get their hands on our games, which we did through Parsec. So it was we tried to make the best of it, and it actually turned out really well. And I think a lot of learning that we've had in the last 16, 18 months is something that we will probably apply moving forward, even though, and I must say that, there is a very big added value to these live events, being able to not just look each other in the eyes through a wonderful camera, but also look each other in the eye, shake each other's hand, have a drink, have a dinner or whatever, or just have this actual shared experience. And it's very difficult to put that maybe in like to justify that in like numbers, like quantify that in numbers. Okay, what is that worth? But at the same time, because it can work without, and as we've seen, you can be as successful as an industry without these live events. However, I think it's the human aspect that we're missing. And I think especially in the entertainment or digital entertainment industry that we work in, a lot of the interactions already are digital. So you really need to have these moments every now and then where you can engage and see and interact with your community, stakeholders, teams, and so on and so forth. Yes.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much, Leon.
You're very welcome.
I think I'm very drawn in when you talk. So you know how to do storytelling.
I guess.
So yes, thank you for your time. I think we got to the end of our time together. Viewers, I will put all Leon informations, his Twitter, Black Mixer as well. No? Yep. Everything, LinkedIn, and you will be able to contact him. And he said to get in touch with people from the industry. So
please do.
Who is a force to reckon in the gaming industry.
I don't know about that.
So thank you very much. And it was Johanna, aka Jojo. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Leon.
Thank you, Jojo.
Bye-bye.